As the war in Darfur spills over into Chad, many victims of the ongoing violence are brought here, to the hospital in Gozbeda.
At night, some people in the villages said that Arab start burning the other villages and maybe tomorrow they come to us. The second day they came at 11 a.m. and start shooting in the village. We ran out of the village.
Muhammad Ali's village, Haras, was burned to the ground. He and his family managed to flee, but Muhammad was later shot as the attackers advanced. He has been recovering here with other victims of the attack. Like in neighboring Darfur, the victims of the violence in southeastern Chad are overwhelmingly members of African or black tribes. Their attackers are from Arab tribes.
Arab shot me.
He knows because he recognized them. When they burned Haras, he could even identify specific people. He says he saw the leader of the neighboring village, Osman Tarab.
I hate them so much and I wish they will dead.
We set out to find one of the people he wants dead, Osman Tarab. The conflict in Darfur, Sudan began in 2003 when rebels from African tribes rose up against the government. To counter the rebels, the government of Sudan armed and supported the Janjaweed, an Arab militia from Darfur. Human rights groups accused the Janjaweed and the government of Sudan of brutal attacks directed against civilians from African tribes. More than 450,000 people have been killed by fighting and disease. Millions more have been forced off their land. The U.S. government calls it genocide. Recently, attacks have spread here to eastern Chad, where the ethnic makeup is about the same and the border porous. Our first stop is in a makeshift camp where residents of Haras and other villages have set up after fleeing attacks. This is Muhammad Ali's hut. His daughter and grandchildren are waiting for him to return from the hospital with the few possessions they were able to retrieve from Haras.
We were just able to get this spot for cooking and that one over there.
The Ali family also lost their beds and their clothes, but what they need more than anything is access to their land.
We had a farm with a lot of things, vegetables, millet, onions.
The ethnic divide here and in Darfur between African tribe and Arab tribe is in many ways an arbitrary one. Both groups are Muslim. Both have lived in this area for centuries. The African tribes are often identified as black, but both groups have the same dark skin, at least to an outside observer. The main difference between the groups is their occupation. Arabs tend to be animal herders and are often nomadic. The African tribes are typically sedentary farmers. And without access to their fields, families such as Mahamad's have little food to cook with. The next day we meet the leader of Haras, Hajarin Ali. Like Muhammad Ali, he witnessed the attack and accused the same people of being involved, including Osman Tarab. He goes on to explain how the attack happened. He says more than 150 men in uniform and on horseback arrived in the neighboring Arab villages. They were Janjaweed from Darfur, he says. Then, together with Osman Tarab and local Arabs, they came to burn down Haras.
I am angry for these people. We grown up together and living together, and now they are attacking us.
There are not really any roads in eastern Chad, just worn paths in the sand. But the road to Haras is hard to find even by Chadian standards. Eventually it disappears completely. We have to get directions from Arab nomads who are out grazing their animals. For one of the men, Muhammad Hamdan, it's clear who controls this area.
This land is belong to the Arab called Mahamat.
He says he wasn't here when the attacks took place and doesn't know who's responsible, but says that the two groups would sometimes come into conflict over land usage. The Arabs want it for animal grazing, and the African tribes want it for farming. But these were always just minor problems.
Before a long time we came to this river for good water for our animals. And if our animals attack any farms, just we solve it and we pay for this, and the problem will be solved.
We eventually find the village of Haras along with Hamdan's camels, which are grazing there. There's an eerie silence here. Just about the only thing that remains are these pots. This is where residents used to store grain between harvests. Now the food is either gone or burned with the rest of the village. Meanwhile, the neighboring Arab village is full of life. Muhammad Ali in the hospital said that the people who burned Haras came from here, including the leader Osman Tarab. Are these the people who helped the Janjaweed and shot Ali? Everyone here says no.
Even I don't know the Janjaweed, and I didn't talk to them. I have no relation between me and Janjaweed. Even if they came in front of me now, I don't know, I didn't recognize them.
Rather, he says, the people here are scapegoats just because they come from the same Arab tribes as the Janjaweed.
After the starting of this problem, we go to the government and told them to come and solve this problem. And they told us, you are the Arab, you are the Janjaweed, and you start this problem. We have nothing to do for you.
And what about Osman Tarab, the leader of the village?
I don't know Osman Tarab.
Our last stop is at the home of Said Ibrahim Mustafa, the Sultan of this part of Chad. Traditionally, he solves problems between tribes, such as over land rights. He has invited us here to meet the man we've been looking for, Osman Tarab. The Sultan summons Tarab and other Arab leaders to try to determine what had happened. Like the villagers before, they all said they were not involved.
If they have a proof for that, they have to prove it.
Is Osman Tarab guilty of burning Haras and shooting Muhammad Ali? Or, as an Arab leader, is he just being blamed for the actions of the Janjaweed? The Sultan, who is a member of an African tribe, isn't ready to blame them. Instead, he blames Sudan for arming the Janjaweed and therefore upsetting the delicate balance of power between the tribes that has existed here for centuries. He says this is one problem he cannot fix.
This problem became bigger than the local authority or the traditional authority, Sultan and so. Since a long time ago, everyone respect the one who is higher than him. But now, it has become political, not easy to be solved.